Hello everyone and welcome back to part 7 of this walkthrough for Khare, City Port of Traps. In our last playthrough we went through the sewers and discovered that Sansa is down there, leading a goblin army and wearing a fake crown of kings. We also discovered the order that the spell lines need to be read in. We went to the bathhouse to discover an assassination plot for the nobles, and we went to the festival one last time. It's now time for us to carry on our adventure. We're now in the ruins of a grand building and we can see an ornamental pond nearby. Select Go Over and look. We walk over to the pond and despite its great age it seems well tended and the water is surprisingly clear. A small scarlet fish darts out from behind a stone as you watch. Bubbles rise from its mouth and as they break you hear the breath of words. Also, something else glitters at the bottom of the pool. Select Cast a Spell. The first thing I'm going to do is talk to the fish as it seems to want to speak to us, and that requires the Yap spell. So select Y, A, P, and cast. We pull our wig on and the fish begins to talk. Cold in here, cold, cold in here. Select Ask the fish which way I should go. Please fish, you say, tell me which way I should go next. Some go left, the fish replies, they don't come back. Some go right, they come back. Next select the option to ask the fish about the north gate. The fish just swims around in circles and no amount of magic is going to make the fish understand what the north gate is. But still, learning that people that go left don't come back sounds interesting, and we'll need to investigate that shortly. But first, select Look deeper into the pond. You can see something gleam at the bottom, and it's not a fish this time, but a gold piece. Select Take the gold piece. The fish is going to bite our hand and removes 1 point of stamina, but we're determined. Select Try again for the coin. This time we successfully grab it and put it in our pocket. Select Continue. And now it's time to investigate what the fish was talking about earlier. Why do people that go left never return? Go to the flag, go downhill. You follow the cliff-top road, looking down over the fields of Khare. You can see workers still breaking their backs in the setting sun, and halfway along you pass a creature with a signboard slung around its neck. Select Read the signboard. The message says, Doom comes, the world is ending. The creature notices your gaze and begins to approach. Select Talk to the creature. Greetings, you say, and the creature looks deep into your eyes. Stranger, he murmurs, do you have a moment for salvation? Select Salvation from you. The creature looks confused. It is not I who brings destruction to the city. It is not I who... Select Keep listening. And all who go there will be destroyed, the creature finishes. You blink. Did you miss something? The creature appears to be waiting for an answer. Select the option Who go where? The council has abandoned us, he replies. There is a stir of revolution. The people live in fear and they do not listen. Select a revolution. Fire burns in the deep, the creature replies. 1,000 angry voices wait to rise. Go below, and you shall find the king. Then he blinks suddenly, as though surprised to find himself on the street. Select Thank you. The creature just looks startled, yelps, and then turns away up the street. Select continue. We already know that Sansis is the king that he's referring to, but a revolution, that might be related to the werewolf that we saw earlier. But for now, it's time for us to carry on our adventure. Go to the flag into a plaza. Select continue. And go back this time to the flag, return along the main road. Select continue again. And this time go to the flag, turn uphill. You follow the narrow road which skirts the edge of central Khare. The homes and buildings either side are now more densely packed together. You are nearing a more busy, bustling area of Khare. Select move cautiously. We begin to move cautiously, keeping our back to the buildings, but you must have missed something, because suddenly a hand appears on your shoulder and you are pulled backwards into a building. Select continue and go to the flag, a nearby building. Don't be afraid, murmurs a voice. Select draw my sword. You react instantly, dropping your hand to the hilt of your sword, but the man catches your wrist just as quickly. Not so fast, he purrs, in a voice like sweet wine. You misjudged me. You turn to see who it is, a dark-skinned man with a beard of short stubble. As you look at him, he releases you, holding up his hands to show you that he means no harm. Apologies to give you a fright, he says. I am a lonely man in this evil city. You are a human, and that's a refreshing sight. Please, sit with me and talk for a while. You feel a little bit suspicious, but still we're a polite sort, so select I'll sit with you. Thank you, he replies. It is good to speak the common tongue. And he grins. You look around the building and realize you're in his home. It is well furnished, with rich woven tapestries on the wall. Select look him over. He is a noble-looking sort and wears fine furs and a cloak. He seems friendly enough, but there is just enough of a mischievous glint in his eye to give you pause. But he can't be a noble. You do not recognize him from your pictures of the nobles of the city. Select ask about himself. You appear to be a wealthy man, you remark, looking around the room. Me? The man smiles. No, nothing like that. I used to be a hero, travelling with Clandragor the Heroic, if you've heard of him. The man goes over the counter and looks down at 2 mugs and a tankard of ale. I'd like to ask you about your business, he says, but before I go into all that, would you like some ale? You're suspicious of the man, and you don't really want to take a drink from him. Select I've met him, referring to Clandragor. The man goes quiet. Is that so? He didn't mention me, did he? No, he probably didn't. The man then goes over to a counter and takes 2 mugs and a tankard of ale. I'd like to ask about your business, he says, but before I go into all that, would you like some ale? You found it really strange that he acted and said the exact same thing word for word, but you need to make your stance that you're not going to drink his ale. Select I don't drink. The answer seems to surprise him to the point of confusion. You don't drink, he replies. But if you don't drink, what do you do when you're thirsty? Select I mean I don't drink beer. The man then becomes aggressive. Oh, I see how it is. You mean you don't drink my beer? His expression turns to anger. Ungrateful traveller, you barge your way into my home and then refuse my hospitality? Join me in my ale, or I promise you, you will not leave my house. It's time for us to leave. Select leave now. We stand up to go, nodding your head politely to the man. Then before you know what is happening, He's grabbed his longbow from the wall, notched an arrow, and is aiming straight at your heart. No one escapes from Vangorn the murderer, he gloats, pulling back the string. We only have a moment to react, and what's quicker than a blast of lightning? Select Cast a Spell. And the spell we're going to cast is Zap. Select Z, A, P, and cast. Quickly you summon the force of electricity into your palm, and before Vangorn can release his arrow, you shoot a bolt of your own. The bolt hits him squarely in the chest. He is not killed, but clearly badly wounded, and he drops his bow. Select Attack. Pause the video, and continue once Vangorn is defeated. Congratulations! You've just defeated Vangorn the murderer. Now before we leave, let's do a bit of investigating. Firstly, select Search Vangorn's body. You find 8 gold pieces, which we decide to take with us. Next, select Look in the cupboards. You'll find a jar marked Poison and another jar marked Essence of Bark. Select Take both. And then select Leave. The hanging doesn't have anything in it besides a spider and brings you no benefit. Select Continue. And go to the flag, follow the road. The sun is beginning to disappear from view, and we need to think about where we're going to sleep tonight. Select Keep Going, Continue, and go to the flag further on. As we continue down the lane, it starts to get narrower, and the walls either side are now so close together that someone on the top floor has laid planks across the alley to steal from the house opposite, or perhaps to steal their own things back. It is hard to be sure. Select Cast a Spell. And the spell we're going to cast is Big. Select B, I, G, and cast. Select Remove the plank. You pluck the plank from its place and shake free the robber who is clinging onto the middle of it. He cries out as he lands, and you toss the plank aside at him and move away. The road narrows further until you can barely squeeze your giant form between the door frames on either side, and quite suddenly you are back in the plaza with the well. Select Continue. Go to the flag by a well. Select Choose a Road. Continue. And go to the flag, take the left road. You pass the rough-looking girl on the street once more, but she seems to have curled up and gone to sleep. Select Continue. And go to the flag towards the wall. You follow a busy, winding street between tall buildings. Heading in this direction, you spy some graffiti. Select Read the graffiti. You can't make it out too well, as it initially says, "The cousin is Gun. The guard have no paws. Time to rise." Select Look closely at the writing. It starts to make a bit more sense. The council is Grin. The guard have no paw. Time to rise. Finally, select Look again. Now you can make it out clear, and it's a call to revolution. The council is gone. The guard have no power. Time to rise. Select Move On. But before we can, two guardsmen approach us. So, purrs one, looks like our little trap worked. Aye, agrees the other. Looks like we caught ourselves a traitor. Select the sarcastic response, apparently you have no power. Oh, that's clever, the guard answers. Except that little slogan of ours is a fake. We painted it. The guard points to the graffiti on the wall with a hand, still stained with white paint. We watched you. You read it twice. More or less prayed to it, the other agrees. Select, it's true, isn't it? From what I hear, the council is gone, and there aren't enough guards to patrol the city. The first guard looks at you triumphantly, but actually, it seems stuck for what to say. The second, who is clearly not very bright, jumps in too early, declaring, exactly. The first guard stares at him into silence. Select, so where is the council? The council are in session, the first guard answers. We did patrol there ourselves last night. They're deliberating, the second guard says, pronouncing the word quite deliberately. Have been for a few months now. It's time for us to move on, but first we're going to have a little fun. Select cast a spell. And the spell we're going to cast is Jig. Select J, I, G, and cast. You pull out your pipe and begin to play a merry tune as you cast your spell. At first the guards seem surprised, and then, a moment later, they are astonished as they find themselves dancing and jigging in the street. You play and play until the two men, both quite large, are tired out and sit down against the wall, underneath the graffiti, smiling and grinning. You leave them there, pocket your pipe, and walk away up the street. You pass a narrow, unpleasant-looking archway on your left as the road turns a corner out of view. Select continue, and go to the flag, follow the road. Select continue again. Go to the flag, metal workers. You open the door and enter a small building to find a messy workshop littered with pipes, tubes, and barrels that leak hot gases into the air. A gnome and a troll are leaning over the innards of some kind of machinery, tinkering and turning spanners, and they don't notice you come in. Select greet them. You call out to the pair and wave, but they don't notice you. But something in the corner does. Select look round. You hear a squeal, and your attention is caught by a brass statue of a pig standing on its hind legs. It seems quite ordinary, except that as you watch it, it hiccups. Select watch the statue. You watch it for a few more moments, during which it hiccups twice. Its movements are weirdly realistic, but it is definitely not alive. When it bends, two cogwheels either side of its body whirl and click, and the whole process itself seems articulated by some kind of piston in its back. Select ask the troll and gnome about the statue. You approach the two metal workers, and this time you tap them on the shoulder. The troll turns and stares at you blankly, but the gnome is more friendly, lifting up his eye shields and smiling. Ignore my dumb friend, he beams. Welcome to our little shop. Select tell me how the statue works. What, a little piggy? The gnome smiles. That's one of Raglish's creations. And unbelievably he pats the dumb-looking troll on the shoulders, and the troll coughs twice. It's an articulated automaton. Seeing your confusion, he clarifies, it runs on magic gas. Select, the troll really built that? He may not look like much, but he's one of our best metal workers in the city. Raglesh here was commissioned by the last first noble, and that is the first noble before this one, to make the grand statue of Matak that stands in the north of the city, if you haven't seen it. Select, I haven't. Well then, you should. It stands outside the Voles of Valda. Great little creation. Runs on steam. You wouldn't know to look at it, though. The access panel is on its left leg, but it's beautifully integrated into the design, if I do say so myself. Select, why does the statue need a panel? The gnome shakes his head sadly. No one understands Raglesh. No one. He grumbles. I'll tell you, we should charge more. The troll burps. Select, what is this place? This is the Metalworkers Guild, the gnome replies proudly. That's metalwork, not blacksmith. But no one seems to have much interest in metalworking. It's the future, of course. The gnome chirrups to himself. You think back to the werewolf armor and wonder if there's a connection. Select, do you make plate armor? Plate armor, the gnome replies, shaking his head. No, you want a blacksmith for that. We do articulate pieces, you see. Things that move. The troll picks up a spanner and drops it again. Thinking to yourself that you've gained everything you can from this place, you decide it's time to leave. Select, I need to be going. Raglesh growls at you quite suddenly. The gnome nods. My friend is right, he says. We should be getting back to work. You nod and leave the shop. So let's continue. Knowing that the statue has a panel on its left leg might be handy for later on. But for now, it's time to find somewhere to sleep. Select the flag, the docks. So let's look around. And so let's move on. So let's continue. And firstly, we're going to go to the inn, the Meat and Cleaver. Go to its flag. And select continue. Go to the flag, Khare the musician. You look about for Khare, but eventually it is he who spots you, waving from a particular dark corner of the inn. Come and sit with us, he calls. We've got food to share and company. Select, sit with him. You say thank you, and you follow him to his table, and sit down with three others that you recognize from the fair earlier as fellow performers. Their table is spread with delicacies, fried hill fox feet, curried ball-eye beans, and a thin green plant in oil that might be stewed grass, and you eat with gusto. So, Khare says pleasantly, have you enjoyed your day in Khare? Any luck finding the nobles? Select, I looked for the nobles but found none. I'm not surprised, responds Khare. You do better trying to find a shred of decency in Sansa's heart than to find the nobles who's been running out of town. The others laugh, but one of the other dancers shakes her head, saying softly, he's not run any of the nobles out of town. If they were out, he wouldn't be able to control them. He's crippled them all instead. Khare introduces his friend with a gesture. This is Almira. She's a dancer, but don't let that fool you. She's a thoughtful soul, if ever there was one. Almira nods her head. Select greetings. Almira smiles once, then turns back to her food. Khare crunches on a battered skunk bear toe. So, he says, are you staying here tonight? Select, I'm not sure yet. You're right not to be sure. I don't know how many would risk the beds at the Heated Reaver, or whatever this place is called. The owner makes good rat-bone fritters, but he's a few giblets short of a casserole. Select, where should I stay? The other inn isn't bad, though I hear Vic tends to scoop up the drunks, he nods meaningfully. Select, then I won't drink. A very good idea, my friend. Jira tries to lighten the tone, raising a toast with his mug. Select, I'll cross the river tomorrow. You're visiting the Red Eyes part of Khare, Jira asks. Well, you better be prepared for them, and for the traps. Select, what are the Red Eyes? Devils. Almira interrupts him. People, she says. A cursed line of people, doomed to look on one another with such extreme hatred that it burns. You'll know a red eye when you see one. Select, by their red eyes. By their closed eyes, she corrects you. And Jira sighs. It's late, we should be going. Almira nods and takes his hand. Arm in arm, they bid you farewell and leave the inn. Let's continue. We decide to listen to their advice, so select the flag, leave the inn. Select continue, and go to the flag outside. Continue once more, and go to the flag back to the docks. Select continue, and go to the flag wayfarers rest. You make your way inside the Wayfarer's Rest. It is a lively and bustling place. The innkeeper behind the bar is trying to serve numerous creatures, all demanding ale at the same time, while around the tables, salty types and buxom wenches are laughing together and singing shanties. Select continue, and go to the flag, a table. You take a seat between a swarthy sailor with an eye patch and a swarthy woman, who is also wearing an eye patch. Select greet the company. Why you need salty dog, the man remarks. What you say, Eka? The woman, Eka, laughs a deep throaty laugh. Not salty, but stray. Select tell them about myself. I'm from Analand, you tell them. You're looking to sign on, that it? The sailor asks. Select no. I'm just passing through. Huh, he nods and then drinks a gulp of beer and rubs his stomach as though it pains him. I got that too. Listen, the sailor murmurs. Do you want to play Swindlestones? It's up to you as this is optional. If you do want to play Swindlestones, select I'll play you and then select as much gold as you can. Once you're victorious, go to the option get up from the table. If you decide to skip this instead, select I do, but not tonight. Select get up from the table, and in the corner, you spot flanker. Select continue again, and go to the flag, flanker's table. There you are again, he declares with pleasure. He seems more relaxed than earlier. Perhaps he has completed whatever mission he was here to perform. But tell me, friend, he murmurs, do you play dice? Select the option Swindlestones. Flanker's smile broadens. I see you know it. From a hidden pouch in his tunic he pulls out a set of dice and pushes half of them across the table to you. Select take them. Select what's the stake. Let me propose a modest wager, he replies. If you win, I'll help you with your quest. But if I win, my obligation to you is at an end. And should we meet again, I'll have the freedom to cleave your neck from your shoulders. Do you agree? Select the option, very well. Pause the video and continue once you've won the game. Once you've won the game, Flanker nods deeply. Suddenly preserved me. I have lost to you again. Come with me. I shall take you to the council. Now, this bit requires a little bit of explanation, as you've got two choices. You can follow Flanker to the council if you want to, and it's really good for clues and lore. However, I actually don't recommend you go this way, because all the information we gain from the council you already know. Basically, when you go to the council, you pass 2 guards and you find that the council chambers are empty. What you gain from there is that the back of the council chairs has the names of the councillors, and in the middle is a giant circle, which will only take you to the sewers. We already know that the council is not in session, and we already know the names and the pictures of the nobles we need to find. So I don't recommend you go through all this. Instead, I'd recommend you select no, and then select will I see you again. Have a read of the description and what flanker says to you, and when you're ready, click continue. Select the flag, the bar. Select greetings. And the innkeeper nods at you, clearly impressed by your dress and well-educated tone. And what be your purpose in these parts, he asks. Select ask the price for the room. The innkeeper holds up 4 fingers rather than shouting across the bar. Select pay for a room. Select head away from the bar. And select continue. Go to the flag, go up to my room. Continue again, and go to the flag, the room. We've already eaten in the last inn that we visited, so we can go straight to sleep. Select the option sleep. You have another dream. Feel free to pause the video and have a read if you want to. And when you're ready, click continue. And go to the flag the next morning. You head downstairs. The inn looks like a whirlwind has passed through it. Chairs are turned over on the top of tables, plates and flagons have been scattered around, and several patrons are passed out asleep on the floor. Select check they're alive. You stop by the first fallen drinkers and check that they're still breathing, which they are, but their breath is so thick and alcoholic it makes you swoon to smell it. You pick your way across the bodies to the door and go out into the street. Select continue and go to the flag outside. Select continue again and go for the flag, head for the bridge. And that's going to do it for part 7. I'll see you all in the next video.